Welcome to Sharp Factory's Quick Start video tutorial series. On this video, we're going to be talking about basic CRUD operations. Create, retrieve, update, and delete. This video builds upon the previous video, so if you haven't watched the first video, I recommend you stop this video and do so now. As you can see, we have the same solution that we had in our previous video. We have the same model and the same projects we generated from our previous video. We added a world importers website based on ASP.NET Core 2.2 default template. Then we scaffolded the people controller based on our person entity. We scaffolded some screens for create, delete, details, edit, and to show a list of people based on the person entity as well. The first thing is we set up our data access for our model in our configure services in our startup class. First, we register our model's connection string, same way we did in our previous video. And then we set up dependency injection for our repository container. Repository container inherits iRepository container. And we set it up as a singleton because Sharp Factory's repository container is designed to work as a singleton. So basically these two lines of code set up our data access and our dependency injection. The next step is in our people's controller, we're going to have a private field to hold our repository. And then we're going to create a constructor that takes in an iRepository container so that we can inject our repository into our controllers. Now we're going to run this just to make sure everything runs and compiles. So we're going to notice that it's the default ASP.NET Core template screen, and I added an extra link on top called people. Now when I click on it, I get an exception because we haven't passed in any data yet to our view. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to pass in all the people that are in the table to our view so that it shows a list of people. So we're going to say var model, and we're going to call our repository the name of our model. Then we're going to get the name of our schema in the database and the name of our entity, which is person, and then we're going to say to list. No filtering or sorting or anything. We're just going to basically get a list of everybody that is in the table, and we're going to pass it in to the view as the model. Now when we run the website, we shouldn't get an exception. Now we should get a list of people in our database. As you can see, we get a list of people in our database. Now we want to set up our controllers so that all of these operations, delete, details, edit, and create new, work as expected. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to populate our details screen. To do that, we're going to call our repository. We're going to call our model. And we're going to call the schema person. And we're going to say by primary key. So basically we're getting an entity by its primary key. Now if your primary key had multiple fields, like a multi-column primary key in the database, you would have multiple parameters in this method. And then we pass in our model to our view. Now for the actual create operation, what we're going to do is we are going to call create. We're going to call create. So we're going to say repository dot appdb sales person create, and we're going to pass in an entity of type person. For our edit, first we have to populate our edit screen. So we're going to create a variable to model, and we're going to do the same thing we did before, basically to get by primary key. We pass the ID, and then we pass our model to our view. For the actual update operation, we want to call the update method. So we're going to say repo, and we're going to say appdb sales person update. We're going to pass in a person. For our delete, first we want to populate. So we're going to just copy and paste from here, from the edit. We're going to copy and paste to our delete. which basically we retrieve by primary key, and then we pass our model to our view. And for the delete action, for the actual delete action, we want to be able to delete from the database. So we're going to call the delete method on that particular repository. On the person repository, we're going to call delete. We're going to pass it to the person. Now, as you can see, when we see the IntelliSense for delete, we see delete and delete by primary keys. You should be able to also delete by primary key. In this case, we're just going to pass in the actual entity to delete. Now, that's it. That should set up all our data access. Now, let's run our website again and be able to corroborate that everything works as expected. Click on the people link. We're going to create a new person. We call this person John Doe, lives somewhere in the USA. We're going to say create. As you can see, now we have John Doe in our database. Now we're going to delete John Doe. Populated the form first, then we hit delete. Now John Doe is gone from our screen. Now we're going to say, we're going to edit Nikola Tesla, and we're going to say that he lives in Orlando, Florida, United States. We're going to save it. As you can see, this value is already updated and pulled from the database in this screen. Now we're going to click on the details. The details work as expected. We can see some details about Nikola Tesla. We can edit Nikola Tesla again. We can say now he lives back in New York. Save it. As you can see, now lives back in New York. So that's it. Very simple. We were able to set up our data access for basic CRUD operations. For more advanced operations, we're going to have videos specifically for that topic. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and watch the next videos of this series.